Have you ever found yourself believing and or doing one thing while it seems like the rest of the world believes or does something else? And you're like swimming upstream like a salmon? Whoo, boy. I think we've all had that experience. And today I'm so pleased to have with me Seda Collier. So I'm Kristen Collier. Oh my gosh, we have the same last name.
Why is that?
Well, because we actually got married when I was 18 years old. And that was a lot of years ago, like over 30. And I am really happy to be living with my now Platonic Life Partner, Seda, because she's not the man I married at all. Never was, it turned out, but I didn't know. Anyway, I am curious about hearing more about Seda's experience and for her to share that with you all, because as I look at my joy practice and I think about parts of it, which for us, I think went way back in, and especially during her transition and then our transition as a family. And I wanted to focus this time on Seda's experience and how, in particular, alignment and momentum supported you in your journey to feeling more whole and more going with the flow, or at least becoming part of a flow that you really saw as part of wholeness in the world. So bringing, your gift of love to that flow.
Sounds good.
Yeah, so maybe going back to 2005, where was it that you were not experiencing yourself in alignment?
I was not in alignment at all with really anything, with my body, with my family, with community. I was like planning to commit suicide every day. So I was totally out of alignment and always.
Ouch. And then, I know. It's a good thing we can laugh now.
I know, right?
It's kind of a sadistic thing. But it
was horrible.
The thing is that it was an awakening. And that's what Seda and I really both come back to. It's not just nervous laughter. It's a little piece of that. But it was really an awakening to finding ourselves. I mean, you found yourself, definitely. I even found myself in it and have so much gratitude for that. I would not take it back. I wouldn't take it back. So, so then stepping into alignment, what was that like for you personally?
Well, the first part of stepping in alignment was to just admit that I was trans. And that, when I started transition, which was the next year, 2006, that started to bring my body into alignment, so I started to feel comfortable with myself.
With hormones
and started doing electrolysis to remove my beard. So when that happened, I did start feeling much more comfortable in my own body and in society with everyone. It was like I was not in alignment. I was lying to everybody. It felt like I was lying to everybody because I was not telling anybody what the real me, who the real me was, who I really am, what's going on in life. I couldn't share that. And then when I started to be able to share that and to actually live that, a lot of things shifted. It got a lot better. Yeah.
And it was a scary period. I mean, just as a side note, for me and for for me and my perception of our family was fine. But I was afraid that a lot of things would change and that we would be living separately. And it was just, it's devastating to go along thinking that you have one thing and you have a relationship in one way and then it shifts. And so there's more, if you want details of my life, there's a book that I wrote about it, a memoir called Housewife, Home Remaking a Transgender Marriage. You can check that out on my website, actually, at collierconnections.com or Amazon or, an independent bookseller, preferably. At any rate, so Seda, that alignment, I'm hearing, happened inside of you individually, and then it began to happen with personal relationships with you and I.
Right.
When I came on board. And it took years. I mean, this is not something that happened overnight. And primarily with Seda and I, that took a course of...
Well, it began in like 2003, really, but then it took until 2008 or 9, probably, before we...
Well, but it was 2006 before
2006
before I felt better
shift.
about it, and we together told our kids. And when I felt better about it, that was like a place of acceptance for me, because you really, like you described, hitting rock bottom and being suicidal, and I was not my best person at that point either. because I was like, oh my God, please don't, no. And so I remember asking you, like, could you please, this is embarrassing to even say, but could you please just appear to be a man for the rest of your life, just to kind of keep things together here, so that we could just like kind of have what we planned on having? And you said, no.
I was okay with it in theory, but I couldn't do it in practice.
Yeah,
and there was no way.
And I could tell from the earnestness in her voice and the pain that was true. And when I heard that truth really, really deeply and felt how potentially imminent suicide was for her, I said, okay. And so that helped me to really see the wholeness in what she was stepping into. And that was a piece that I was kind of afraid of, like, is this okay? Because you have to remember that, folks, that in 2005, things were a lot different. There was a lot less awareness of, understanding of, acceptance for transgender people, and how, all of that works. And so it was really scary. At the same time, we are really blessed to live in Eugene. And this kind of was spawned by Seda doing the transgender survey yesterday and noting that she is feeling so fortunate to have so few negative experiences, painful experiences in the world. So we're really grateful to live in the Pacific Northwest. And we're really grateful also, we were noticing here, our dog is here with us in the forest, but we're really grateful to have found this sense of alignment together and that momentum. So going back to, so you had the alignment of individual, you had the alignment of family, and then you came out at work in
2007.
Yeah.
Actually, right at the end of 2007, and then actually transitioned in 2007, and had a lot of support from
social transition.
Had a lot of support from management, which was very helpful. So that felt good, and then not all people were on board with it. Of my coworkers, there were a few who were really uncomfortable with it. And one in particular, gentleman, gave me facial expressions that let me know that I was not okay.
Well, or that he was definitely not okay with who you were.
He was not okay with it.
He was in a lot of discomfort.
Exactly.
He just wanted that to go away.
Exactly. Yeah.
Totally. Okay, so but largely, okay, and so this is what I'm wanting to come back to. When you stepped into alignment with who you were, it sounds like you experienced a lot of peace, a lot more peace, than what you had.
A lot of relief, and that led to peace. I mean, relief and peace are related.
Yeah,
certainly.
Yeah.
And that relief just freed up everything. And you were talking about momentum, right? I mean, that relief and that freedom then led to a momentum.
A forward momentum instead of a backward, downward, toilet
upward
swirl
spiral
momentum.
instead. Exactly.
Yeah.
Because I was on that toilet swirl momentum, and getting in alignment shifted that.
Yeah. And Seda is also, did I mention she's one of the founders of Transponder, which is a local nonprofit supporting transgender people and supporting our community in understanding what that's like and supporting them. So you were doing a lot of work in Transponder. You were doing a lot of outreach.
Starting in, I think, 2008 probably is when I connected with them.
Yeah.
And Cass had already started at that point, Cass Averill. And then I came on and started helping out.
Yeah. So you were feeling a lot of community momentum with you at work, in Transponder, in your family. And I, from my point of being primarily a homemaker at that point, I was kind of the hub for our friend network. And when I got into alignment with the wholeness of who Seda was, and I could announce to them what was going on, like almost everyone was really supportive. We had a couple of friends who, just like one close friend who really was having a harder time with that. that's another story. But the big piece around you, Seda, right now is like that you did, and actually maybe it's not a totally another story because that friend was really connected as to their Christianity, and Seda, you were a devout Christian for most of your life, for a lot of your life, yeah, and so
Still
that
am.
right, so that knowing that person had and their family had such a hard time accepting and embracing the wholeness of who you were, really brought up some pain against your religion. You were
A lot.
Were you experiencing alignment for yourself in terms of spirituality, with your individual spirituality?
I was starting to feel in alignment with my own relationship with God, but then
because you're being true and honest.
Because I was being true and honest, but that led to being not in alignment with my community at that point.
Your faith community.
Most of the Christian community in the United States was not aware and not in alignment, not supportive of transgender people.
I love this woman so much. I love you so much.
I love you.
So what's amazing is that then this woman went out, and in 2008 you got really angry about that. And then in 2008 she just was like not going to take no for an answer. And she went out and started to connect with that faith community again and go to church. And yeah, do you want to say anything else about that?
I had to start just by I needed that community, and I needed the connection, and I needed to explore my spirituality in the context of my religion. And so I started talking with one gentleman about it, because the Christian Science reading room was very close to my point of work. I started going there and talking with someone there. And that led to even more momentum, but gave me more comfort and confidence in my alignment with spirituality and with the ethic of Christianity. And because I was in alignment, I could see that there's this one thing that people perceive as being not in alignment with faith, but I was actually living my life in alignment with my faith, and that gave me the confidence then, and to have the momentum to go forward.
Yeah.
And to eventually start going to church and so on.
And one of the things that's absolutely gorgeous about Seda is that she has connected with me on a spiritual level from the time that we first met, even though I'm completely agnostic. And I really appreciate that about you. So your needs for community were met, and your way preferred strategy on that one is being able to go to church and engage with your religious community. And at the same time, you who are listening, you may engage with your spirituality, your sense of community in different ways. And that does not make your situation any different. It's just that you have your own strategies around that. I mean, when I say any different, what I mean is we all have the same needs. And that need for community. Right. And when we're not in alignment with our needs, and that depth, that an alignment part came from your heart first, right? It came from you lining up and saying, no, I'm going to connect with that community in my heart, and now I'm going to go out and find it and experience it with other people. And in your determination, you were able to do that. Yeah. And so then what Seda has done over the years since then is to expand beyond that particular church. And this is why I get a little teared up on this, because for me this is so powerful, that she is connecting with Christians all over the world around the topic of being transgender and her experience. And do you want to talk a little bit more about that while I unwrap the dog from the tripod so we don't have a little accident?
Yeah, that was, I mean, in the process of going through all this and aligning ever more with faith and with my own integrity, then eventually it's reached the point now where I've connected with a whole community, and have been featured on a podcast, Theology in the Raw, with Preston Sprinkle, twice actually, episodes 906, and I forget the other one.
I'll put a link in the description. I'll put a link there. There'll be a few links because actually Seda and I were featured on that NPR Snap Judgment once.
That's
I'll stick
right.
that link in.
Yeah.
So you've been on Preston's podcast, and Preston's doing some other work that you're engaging
He's
with
doing
that is
amazing
pretty
work.
cool.
Yeah,
You want
yeah.
to talk about the Babylon thing just a little?
Oh, the Exiles in Babylon conference
Or
is for Christians to connect around these difficult questions for the Christian community of faith, sexuality, gender, race, and these things that are divisive in our country, and to find the unifying factor and to really celebrate together.
Yeah, totally. Thank you. I'm just so excited that she's doing this work. And I mean, even though I'm not a Christian, I think it's so supportive of people, anybody within those who is not part of the dominant culture, to find a way into that religion, and to not just find a way into, but to create a new kind of belonging in that space. Does that sound right? Am I on the...
I think so. Yeah, absolutely.
Together with what's
together
existing,
with
like
what's
let's
existing,
recreate and co-create.
Yeah,
man.
And unify.
Yeah, man.
And that's so cool.
Oh my gosh, it's so cool. I mean, coming from 2005, like being angry and feeling like she wasn't involved in this at all. And I want to check in too, one more time. This came from inside of you first. You made that
First
alignment
inside.
with spirit, with your body and your experience. You had the courage
With my spirituality.
with your spirituality. You had the courage to bring that forward to me, to our family, to your work,
To the community. Then to church.
Yeah, it's amazing. Okay, and then we got to end on the note of the grumpy fellow from work who was not very happy that you were doing that right in front of his eyes, transitioning, that you were all of a sudden becoming yourself. It was hard for him. It was hard. I really don't want to make light of it because it was really painful for him too. His experience was painful.
Right, initially, but I just kept my focus on my own integrity and on working professionally with him, and on all the positive things in my life, which are, there's so much. I mean, Kristen is a big part of it because she's just, this fount of love that has fed me for so many years, but also my own spirituality and in connecting with that. And I could see that he didn't understand that. So I just stuck with it, and I was kind to him a few times when I had an opportunity to do so, and worked with him professionally at times. And at the end of it, at his retirement party, he came up to me and made a point of coming up to me, shaking my hand and saying that he really appreciated me and respected me and was glad to work with me.
Okay. So just so I'm getting this the way you intended, you put your attention on your integrity and the sense of wholeness you had inside of you. You choicefully decided where to put your attention and not to put it on this conflict potentially that was brewing with this coworker.
That's very true. I ignored the conflict.
Yeah. And you put your attention on what was working, whatever was working around you in that moment. And then coming out of that, it sounds like as a byproduct of that, you gave him space.
I gave him space. Yep.
To be able to come to his own conclusions on it. And
I remember, and to be himself and to be angry if that's what he or whatever.
Yeah. And I remember, maybe it was that guy or maybe it was a different person who I remember you coming home and saying, they said that they were really surprised that you were just like a regular person. Was that guy or was that somebody else?
I don't actually remember.
Yeah, I catalog these stories differently, but I remember somebody saying, you know what, I thought you were going to be like different or, like odd, but actually you're just like a totally regular person and you're still like, you're really down to earth. I really appreciate that. And she is. I mean, I just absolutely adore her. So we are supported, as always, by the beauty and the holding of our Mother Earth around us. And this trail is one that Seda and I have been walking for
At least 25 years.
probably over 30
Probably
years.
close to 30.
I think, yeah, close to 30 years.
Probably 30.
And we love this space, and we've hiked here with many dogs, and our last one is Leo. Put a little picture up there. And we are just so grateful to each other, to this space.
Totally grateful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So there is a story for you on alignment and momentum. And if you liked this video, please press the little like button. That helps it make it so that other people will have the chance to see it. And if you subscribe, same thing. Raises it in the algorithm so more people can see it if you think that it's valuable content. Would love to hear your comments. Where in your life have you been swimming across the current and it was really hard and you found yourself in alignment? Thanks so much. This is Kristen Collier with Collier Connections. See you next time.